Excellent. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have a wonderful guest, one who's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than the incredible rap artist himself. Born, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, sir. This means a lot to myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast that you would take time out of your busy schedule to come have a conversation with us.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir. And my sister Miriam says, Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam, Mimi. And then everybody's showing you love already. And we can't wait to put this on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
The first thing that we want to get into is the videos that you sent me of you just, you know what I'm saying, killing it. 16 bars, then you got the hooks, then you got the chorus and the bridge. And I've seen a lot of rappers, you know, who talk about the teachings, but I didn't see people in Jamaica or overseas with the Final Call newspaper in one of them. Then you have one with Styles P and Jadakiss in the video. How did this come about?
Well, first and foremost, we give thanks to Master Father Muhammad, you know, for all the blessings. Music, I've been doing music for some time now. I was signed to a major label, Warner Brothers by KRS exclusively. So music has always been there. Islam has always been there. So as far as, you know, jumping, you know, to the Styles P video, you know, Mount Vernon and Yonkers are right next to each other. I have a very good relationship with the Lox, Styles, Sheik, Jadakiss. So, you know, I've known him for a very long time. And when I said, you know what, let me step back in one more time and I'm gonna do something incredible, something monumental and epic and incorporate the streets and Islam. So I reached out to my brother, you know, Styles P, just a beautiful soul. He responded. We shot the video. Of course, I reached out to the mighty Fedayeen, the men of sacrifice for Muhammad's Mosque #7. You see my brothers, you know, Kyrie, 7, Brother Alton, Tariq, and they came through for me. And it was a beautiful day that day. Brought the whole city out. It was just iconic that day. And I'm just thankful for that, beloved. It was beautiful.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. And what advice would you give to other artists about pushing enlightened messaging, but as well keeping it cool and relevant the way you did, like in your music? Like what advice would you give about the balance?
Yeah, you know, the balance is very important because sometimes we can get the teachings and we regurgitate them, and sometimes for the lost files, brother, it's a little bit too much and we may lose them. So that's a fine line that you have to master. My element is street. I'm a product of that. So the balance for me is to be cunning with it, you know, to throw the teachings here, but still keep it relevant. So we have to let them know, you know, the FOI, you see a soldier and we still fly, you know, but we have a way that we do with our flyness. It's more civilized, it's cultivated. So to do that and let the lost found see, no, I can still spit that fire at you, but you still see my Islam, you know, it really draws them to it because I'm like, you know what? I didn't know that y'all do that. Oh, absolutely. But we keep it refined. We keep it pure. We keep it civilized. Something, you know, I try to spoon feed them. I don't want to hit them with something too crazy. Try to spoon feed them, and then we get them to that. But to the up and coming artists that want to do that, just, you know, make sure your wordplay is fly. Understand the language of the street. Understand your audience, who you're targeting at. Strive not to go over some of their heads, and just keep a balance. And be you.
Excellent. All praise to Allah. My sister Naeem says, Islam, and thank you everyone who's watching. I want to make sure that we giving some good teasers for the upcoming project. You have some other features as well from some artists as well. You gonna let us know about the features that you got coming up on the project?
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about the project. It's called RTF. It's called Restore the Feeling. I came up with that concept because there's an element that's missing. We could talk to kill the drill. That's not what we do. I wanted to bring a feeling back that when you hear good quality music, you hear good quality beats, you hear hard bars over these beats with good content, good subject matter. So we came up with that Restore the Feeling. I said, what better way to restore the feeling but to grab some of these icons? So I reached out to Styles P. I reached out to the iconic, legendary Junior Reed. I have a song with him called Frontline that the video that you saw, where we got
Yes,
the
sir.
final call with the youth in Jamaica, in Kingston, on the front line, with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's face being shown right on that. Reached out to AZ. For those that don't know AZ, AZ was the only artist on Nas's first classic Illmatic album. You may know him from Life's a B and Then You Die. Also, I got my brother Case, legendary R&B singer who actually lives in ATL. That's my
Okay,
brother.
okay.
Yeah. You know, we had to do something for, for the sisters and make it, make it nice and give it that little bounce and appeal. That's what we do, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then last but not least, I got the iconic, legendary Ghostface Killer from the Wu-Tang Clan, my big bro. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention my brother Saigon and Wise as well. So it's a powerful. The music is incredible, beloved. I can't wait for the people to hear it. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Now this is our first conversation that we're having like this, with seeing each other outside of the phone, but you may not know that I'm an actor. So any upcoming projects where you need like a cool killer guy and bad guy in a video or something like that, just let me know. I'll be like, the upcoming projects, you got any videos? Yeah. Just put me in, put me in the game now.
Yeah, you're gonna get the call, brother Joshua. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. Now, what I wanted to ask you about is the teachings. You speak about Islam, but when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Well, brother, I heard the teachings through the Nation of Gods and Earth, the 5% Nation, and that's where the name I born came from, and that's the name that actually stuck. And that was my, my performance name. That's what everybody calls me in the streets. I born. There's a large portion that people that call me Brother Chad. I joined the 5% Nation when I was 14 years old. I was a student of study. And of course, when you find out who the questions was given by, who they were answered by, you see Master Fard Muhammad, you see the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. My uncle was from the era, from the time of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It was actually a lieutenant for Malcolm X. So Islam has always been around, but I wanted to discipline and cultivate it and get it right. I really wanted to know more about the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, wanted to know more about Master Fard Muhammad. So in 2002, I made the phone call. Student Assistant Minister, Brother Arthur, brought me down to the mosque. And that first day, I accepted. I accepted Islam in 2002, and it's beautiful. Love the nation, beloved. Love it.
Oh, praise the
love us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. So how did your family and friends feel about you accepting, joining the nation?
I mean, it was a good thing because you got to realize, to the lost found, some can't distinguish the 5% from the Nation of Islam, right? Until they see the suit and the bow tie, till they see me moving with the final call. Otherwise, the Nation of Gods and Earths wore the universal crown with the tassel. So they saw the transition of me with the suit and the bow tie, and my just whole attitude and my demeanor, everything about me changed. Things that I used to do in the Nation of Gods and Earth, I could no longer do in the Nation of Islam. So they saw the discipline factor, and it really drew people to like, you know what, anytime you put your mind to something, brother, like you really go hard with it. And I said, absolutely, because I really needed the discipline. And there was nothing, the Nation of Islam was the best thing that has ever happened to me. As far as my life in general, yes, our praise is due to Allah. The Nation of Islam really got me on the right path of not just of self, but just understanding life in general. Our people, a different type of love for our people. So yeah, that's it, brother. So Islam has always been there, beloved, always.
Excellent. Yes, sir. What can we do to help unify the nation and the 5% of Gods and Earth? What can we do to help unify us across the country?
I think it just needs to be an open discussion. And I think, the Nation of Gods and Earth, sometimes they don't understand when you tell them, okay, 120 degrees, that comes from our supreme wisdom. And some things are not correct. And there's a reason why they're not correct. Once our supreme wisdom was put together, that was it. There was nobody else trying to rewrite it, remix it, take a word or add a word to. So they really need to understand the science of who Master Fard Muhammad was, who he is to us, the sovereign of the universe. So there's a thing, you have the Father, and I thank Allah much for the Father, because if it was not for the 5% Nation of Islam, I wouldn't be here. So I think we just need to have open discussion so the gods can understand, who is the 5% of the poor part of the planet Earth.
That's
We know
right.
who answered that question. We the poor righteous teachers.
Yes, sir.
It's
Yes,
us.
sir.
We have a job to do, to civilize the uncivilized. And I think if we have open dialogue with some of the elder gods and some of and us, I think we can work together and not have these feelings, because it's a lot of animosity.
Mm,
To
mm.
to tell you the truth, some things that they can't understand. Black woman is God. She's the second self of God. These things to the nation of God's and earth is like, no sir. But we got the wisdom to show and prove this beyond a shadow of a doubt. So I think that'll be it right there. And I'm kind of bridging that gap right now, because the song that I got out now with AZ is called "What's the Science," and that is that right there is real heavy in the nation of God's and earth. So if I saw God, He may ask me today's mathematics, but then I may ask Him, "What's the science?" The science is like, what's going on? Like, what are you doing? Everything in life. So I'm like, yo, brother Joshua, what's the science? So I'm about to get on this podcast with brother Abon, and we about to chop it up. So the song "What's the Science," and AZ is up. He's from the 5% Nation of God's and earth. So I was just throwing the language back and forth to kind of bridge the gap. I'm throwing the math in there. I'm talking the science. I'm talking the language of the streets, incorporating it with my dialogue and my rhyme, trying to bring it. So a lot of brothers like, yo, man, I thought you was FOI. Yeah, your black man is God too, beloved. Don't forget where it came from. We started this. Yes,
All
sir.
praise to Allah. Yes, sir. Okay, so and people are showing love all across the country. Thank you all for continuing to like, share, and subscribe
Allahu
to the People's
Akbar.
Podcast. Now, so what I wanted to ask you was, not just with the 5% and the FOI, but what advice would you give to the young brother you said you from the street who feel like, I've interviewed countless people who've been to prison, who've gone to jail. They had to get one felony, maybe two, before they got their life together. What advice would you give to the young people to try to help them avoid having to get a first strike or something to make a change in their life?
That's a good question, brother Joshua, because I was incarcerated at the age of 16.
Mm.
I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I came home when I was almost 22 years old. So I didn't have the opportunity, brother, to go to a prom or wear the newest Jordans. I was upstate New York in real prison correctional facilities with adults that was old enough to be my grandfather and father serving life sentences. So I saw it. I was that young brother. So I can give the best advice. And that's what I do. That's what I'm actually doing in my second project called Born Again. I'm speaking more to the youth, letting them know that jail is whack. Like for real, jail is whack. To think that you're away from your family, you can't make money. You're forced to live in an environment that's hostile, where you constantly have to look over your back. It's not cool. Try to guide them in the right direction and let them know, yo, if you have problems, there was brothers like me, or there's plenty of brothers out here, and there's programs available to speak to you young brothers to let you know. Besides that, we got a beautiful mosque, Muhammad's Mosque number 7 in Harlem, New York. I'd like you to be my guest and come on down and hear these life-giving teachings. And I guarantee you, this will change your life. It'll change your mind from any sort of negativity that you think you might want to do. Put the guns down and just learn to love yourself, honor the women, honor your mother and your father, and join the greatest army on the face of the planet. FOI.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Okay. Now, are there, with your upcoming project, where can we get it and how can we support it?
It will be available on all streaming platforms: Tidal, Apple, Deezer, Spotify, YouTube, whatever it is, it will be available. All you have to do is download it. We have these Androids, we have these Apple phones. You can go on there, go look up Restore the Feeling. You can also follow me at beloved, _, Iborn, and you'll see all the information. Or you can go to my YouTube channel, I-BORN, and find out, to see all my new videos. But I'll definitely start promoting, and we're about to let it fly.
Yes,
You
sir.
got to
Yes,
let it
sir.
fly.
Yes, sir. Now, are you coming to Atlanta to do any promotion?
That is definitely in the works because I do have a song with my brother Case. So I just got to lock in with Case because Case is constantly on the road. And to tell you the truth, beloved, I've never been to ATL. I've drove past it,
Mm.
and I have a lot of people from Mount Vernon. A lot of my brothers are down there from Atlanta. But I would love to come down there and visit with you, and definitely promote this project. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Well, we want to make sure you come. And if Case is on the road and you need somebody to step in and say, "You're the only one I need."
Come on, hey, let's go.
Yes, sir. We can make it happen. You know what I'm saying? We got to pack it, help you sell your album, sir. We here to promote. You know what I'm saying? We here to promote.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Appreciate you
sir.
much,
My
brother.
next question for you, sir, is have you ever been faced with fear? And if so, how have you overcome that fear?
Ooh. Yes, I definitely was faced with fear, especially as a teenager. Uh, absolutely, I can tell you firsthand. When I got arrested for my charge, when I had when I had the enemy knocking on my door, that was definitely fear. At that time, but that was back then. But once again, we are the fearless. These teachings have made me not fear anything. I only fear Allah. So yes, sir. That was about it, beloved. I really fear nothing, beloved.
Wonderful. Well, what has been the greatest joy in your life, sir?
The greatest joy of my life, uh, the birth of my 3 children.
Mm.
Uh, greatest joy was when my wife accepted Islam. That was that was unmatched right there, beloved. The birth of my children and my wife accepted Islam to become an MGT was that was it. And I will say the should have been the first one when I had the opportunity to meet the Messiah, the Jesus in our midst, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So those three right there, beloved, they cannot be topped.
Wonderful. Yes, sir. And we're going to come right back to that point because we want to hear what took place. Thank you, everyone who's watching. We have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast this month. Thank you for every like, share, and subscription. And for every Cash App as well. Thank you all very much.
A camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out to him if you need any of those services. Sister Miriam's ABC I Love Me, children's book and coloring book, and now Spanish book. All three available on Amazon.com. Sister Naima's Stay on Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country, right here in the studios of Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Kenneth's Bow Tie Maker Extraordinaire. He'll ship you bow ties anywhere across the nation. Dr. Henry Carter's King Henry Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad's COVID-19 Disinfected Cleaning Services, out of Chicago. Student Minister Sharif Muhammad's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, available on adulsharif.com. And lastly, Brother Joshua Muhammad's book, Cleopatra, as well as No Father, No Excuse, both available on Amazon. If you would like to do...
Thank you very much. All right, yes, sir. So, Brother Alborn, we want to deal with the minister, but I also want to know, do you, every artist who comes on usually has like a hot 16 they keep with them. you got something, or you don't want to switch on the spot, or you got something you can
give? Next time when I come back on, when we drop the album, I'm gonna bless you and I'm gonna bless all the listeners. I'm gonna give you some real power.
Praise yes, sir. Because I was saying, you know what I'm saying, if you need me to do the ad libs or whatever, we got it. We're working it out. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, what was it like meeting now with Mr. Louis Farrakhan?
Brother, it was mind blowing how it happened. I just joined the nation. Brother Khalil, we went on a detail in Boston and the minister was speaking there. And this is the first time I'm being around this. And at the very end of everything, Brother Khalil and I was in like a corridor and the E-team was moving down. Brother was like, yo, go say something to the minister. I'm like, what? No, sir. He said, no, brother, go say something to the minister. I'm like, nah. I said, like, you pushing it right now. And it had to be Allah, beloved, because I would say we were maybe 15 feet apart, and the circle opened up, and it was just me and the Messiah. And the only way I could describe it, if you saw the autobiography of Malcolm X that Spike Lee did, the movie, when Malcolm first met the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, how shy he was, I really couldn't even look at the minister. I'm trembling. And he took my hand and he cheeked me. And my father, prior to that, my father said, if you ever see the minister, you tell him that me and your uncle, we said hello. We painted his house. Your uncle know him. I'm like, all right, whatever, Dad. So I said, whatever. So when I had the opportunity, I said, dear minister, I said, my Uncle Lewis from New Rochelle and my father, they send their love. And Joshua came through. Once he saw me holding the minister, he came through to separate that. He said, no. He said, no, son. And he hugged me a little tighter. And he said, you tell your uncle and your father I love them. And brother, after that, may Allah be pleased with Minister Abdul Hafiz. I rode back with him and Captain Richard. And I was in the middle of them both. And I'll never forget Minister Hafiz saying, do you know what just happened? And I'm sitting there and I was like, you shook the hand of a man who shook the hand of a man who shook the hand of God. And I'm sitting there like, okay, yes, sir. He said, it's brothers that have been in the ranks 30 years has not gotten 10 feet next to the minister. Consider yourself blessed. And I go back to that at times. And I thank Allah much for the opportunity to embrace the minister and for the minister to embrace me. Like that was Master Fard Muhammad that did that all day, brother. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Yes, sir. Okay, well, speaking of Minister Abdul Hafiz, him being from 5% Nation and joining the nation as well, and always been able to spit supreme wisdom, drop up and down, things of this nature. How was you all's relationship? How was you all's relationship?
That was something that really pulled me in even more after I accepted, because student minister brother Arthur Muhammad knows me very well, knows my background with the Nation of Gods and Earth. And so many brothers in the mosque that was from the Nation of Gods and Earth. He introduced me to each one of those brothers, and it made me feel more at home. And when I found out Minister Hafiz was in the nation, and we would just start building. He would tell me these stories of the old rallies and the parliaments, and how he stood as square. And I'm sitting there, wow. And then the teachers like this, it was incredible. We had very great conversations. May Allah be pleased. Minister Hafiz was a scientist with supreme wisdom and the lessons in general. Even when he would teach and he would go through certain lessons, or I would sit there and like, wow, never in a million years would I have looked at it, throwing a comma here and a quotation. He started getting real deep in it. I'm like, wow, it was powerful. Definitely miss Big Brother. He was such a blessing.
All praise to Allah. Yes, sir.
All praise to Allah.
Now, one of the points, point number 12, is one of the strong points that I always ask the guests. Because you spoke about Master Fard Muhammad. How was it for you to accept, who he is?
Oh wow! It's deep that you say that, because coming out the 5% Nation, when you look at the lessons, it says that he, W.D. Fard is a prophet. That's all it said. Always looked at the Father, Clarence 13, X as Allah. That's how it was. So I had to grow into that understanding. And to tell you the truth, Brother Joshua, nobody really made that clear to me. And I had to grow into the understanding. But once it was made clear to me, I'm like, wow. I knew the history, but when it got to the part with the scientists, we knew the science of the 24 scientists, but how he was the one.
Yes, sir.
Brother, I got so fired up with that, beloved, and just really getting deep into the books. And I thank Dr. Wesley Muhammad. He was another brother that I knew that came out the 5% Nation, and we had great conversations at Savior's Day. And when he put out certain books, just to know that the God, the sovereign of the universe, his greatness, what he has done and what he is still doing, beloved, I tell you, it's Master Fard Muhammad who really got me where I'm at with the music. I tell everybody all the time. They said, why now? I said, it wasn't me, it was the God.
Yes, sir.
I gotta deliver the gospel, you know, in a way that I can make the lost found understand it and bring them to the fold. So, you know, I understand my assignment and understand the mission that he got me in.
Powerful. Yes, sir. And I want to make sure everybody supports. I know ever since you sent me the videos, I'm listening to it. I'm showing love. So yes, I want to make sure everybody else
Thank you.
supports. The name of the album again and the release date.
RTF, Restore the Feeling, and release date is June 30th. But hold fast. I just want to tell you, thank you for what you're doing. A brother like you, brother, you are powerful. I watched you drill. Your spirit is incredible. I admire everything that you're doing. I thank you for the platform that you're giving the believers. We need more like you, Brother Joshua. So continue. May Allah bless you and your family and grant you much success with your podcast. And you're doing a great job. And if you ever need me on anything, I'm just a phone call away, my brother.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna hold you to that. Now, what everybody wants to know, sir, is this is a question that we ask all of the guests, but particularly the artists. What is your favorite album of all time?
My favorite album of all time. Wow.
That
is, you know what is, I gotta say something because beloved, I've gone through genres and eras of rap. So that's like somebody asking me, what's your top 5? My top 5 is gonna be different from your top 5 because you're from another era than me.
Okay, let's hear it then.
Out and say, my top 5?
Yes, sir.
LL Cool J.
Hey, can't go wrong.
Rakim.
Can't go wrong with the God.
Jay-Z.
Okay, can't go wrong with Jay-Z.
Nas.
You can't go wrong with that.
Tony Stark's Iron Man, Ghostface Killer.
Okay.
I'm thinking
you about to say like Humo D or like somebody Grant Funk, like those 5. Everybody know those 5. Like you ain't
Curtis, I'm gonna tell you Curtis Blow, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, cause you like different eras. I'm like, nah, LL Cool J. Like LL Cool J, my favorite rapper from the '80s. Like the old school. I love LL Cool J. Yeah, I love LL Cool J. You know what I'm saying? And everybody else.
My favorite album. It's so hard, brother, because those artists right there, I think each one of them touched me deeply with their work. Nas is Illmatic. Jay-Z, the Black Album.
Can't go wrong with the Black Album.
Paid in Full. I could go I'm Bad with LL. I could go, Mama Said Knock You Out, and Ghostface, Supreme Clientele.
Supreme Clientele, yes, sir.
Those are incredible bodies of work. So it was definitely hard, to make a choice.
Listen, that's powerful, powerful list, and people are showing you love. We're about to put this on YouTube tonight, inshallah. What I wanted to ask you, sir, is, will you ever turn your music? Do you ever intend to turn it into like a book, miniseries, your life, movie? Do you ever want to do something like that?
I actually do, beloved, because a lot of my videos, I do the treatments for it. I always tell my wife all the time, I say, yo, my mind is far past Pluto. If I sat down, and beloved, I've been through so many things, and just real quick, for those that don't know, I'm saying this humbly, calisthenic-wise, I was the star on the Rough Riders Thug Workout DVD. So when you see those brothers in the park working out, doing calisthenics and pull-up bar, I am the originator. I'm the godfather of that movement. I started that. So for those that want to go back in YouTube and look up Thug Workout, some people call me the Hood Jesus because of these certain self-taught moves I had learned in prison that I brought to the street. It's deep, beloved. It's deep. It's very deep, and I would just love the people to tap into that as well.
Yes, sir. Okay, so put us on to the Thug Workout. What does that entail?
So Rough Riders that had DMX, the Locks, Eve, we shot a video in 1999. And it was a calisthenic DVD that we did to let people know if you can't afford to go to the gym, you can do this inside of a park. So we went inside the park and I did some incredible moves, beloved. You would just really have to see it. And these moves have got duplicated, mixed, and I'm known in different parts of the world, Yugoslavia, Russia, Africa. Everybody knows who I born is from the Thug Workout. from this calisthenic movement that was started back then.
Mm.
So I definitely don't, that's definitely something that I want to add in the book about that. So for those that don't know, yeah, your good brother, I started a movement that led to other great calisthenic teams in these competitions that you're seeing overseas. It all started from us. All praises
All
is
due
due
to
to
Allah.
Allah.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
now you making me gotta get right for the summer. So you know what I'm saying? So you're saying just YouTube. So you're saying YouTube, Thug Workout, Rough Riders.
Right, and you're gonna see I'm on. Yes, sir. I did some things. In there.
That's powerful. Yes, sir. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Is there anything that you learned in prison that you feel like we should know, people who haven't been in prison should understand about what life is like behind bars?
Life behind bars, brother. It's sad, brother, to be behind bars, and majority of the COs there were Caucasian, beloved, racist Caucasians. I've seen tattoos that some of these Caucasians had in their arm with, black babies being hung on trees. Just to disrespect you and talk down to you, and you just, it's bad, brother. It's bad. Prison is something that I try not to really speak about, but I just try to, some of us like to glorify prison. It's a bad place to be, beloved. Like I said, I was taken away from my mother at the age of 16. So think about you when you were 16, or just think about a child in the street that was 16 years old. Every time one of my children hit the age of 16, I said, wow, I was in the maximum facility with mass murderers, thieves, con artists. And I said, I thank Allah much for him getting me through that time of my life. It's very dark, brother. But I will tell you, I met some of the greatest minds inside of prison, some of the greatest thinkers, some of the most talented and gifted artists, book writers, just geniuses. And some of those brothers groomed me and it molded me into who I am. I had also started a group called 7 Up, and it was all 5%ers. And the group was so powerful that everybody wanted to be a part of it. So the young brothers would actually come up like, yo, I want to get down with y'all. I'm like, yo, let me ask you a question. You got your GED? Oh, you got your GED? Okay, so this is what I want. If you want to move with us, I need you to enroll in college next semester if you want to move with us. Because I said, this rap thing, brother, is not promised. You want to have something that you want to fall back on if it don't work out. So when you get your GED, show it to me. You get your college credits, come on back through, beloved. The doors are open. So yeah.
Okay, great. And now, have you seen any of the people that you may have been behind bars with once you got free, and were y'all able to connect? And is that something like, did y'all build a bond where now that everybody's out and it's a positive thing?
Yes, sir. I speak to him all the time, every day. One of my brothers, the God Wise, is my business partner. Beautiful brother. We met at the age of 18. I actually went up to see him many times. All my brothers, and some of these brothers were connected to some of these major stars. I have a brother named Un. Un and Ghostface Killer are the best of friends. Un introduced me to Ghostface, well known in Staten Island. So a lot of these brothers that I did meet behind bars, we're friends to this day. We're brothers. There's a bond that can't be broken with us because we was in the trenches together. And we will never forget where we were at. And I thank Allah for their friendships and the brotherhood that I have with them.
That's beautiful. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Allahu Akbar.
I wanted to ask you about your wife. What advice would you give to future husbands?
Get you an MGT, soldiers. make sure that court process is right and exact, brother. I think every man needs a strong wife, and I thank Allah much for my wife. And the history with my wife is, brother, I've known my wife since when she was 12, I was 13. I met my wife in middle school. In middle school. So my wife saw me go through everything. I told her, I said, listen, I'm gonna join the 5% and I'm gonna be a God. My wife was like, no, don't do that. You know, later on, I went to jail. She was there, came home. We got together. We got married in 2003. I have 3 beautiful children. And my wife accepted Islam 5 years ago. And I have heaven on earth, beloved. Yeah, real, you know what I'm saying? Real talk. All praise is due to Allah. You know, I love my wife dearly. Um, I, brothers, please get you a good woman, get you a strong Black woman. And if you're in the nation of Islam, beloved, make sure you get you a beautiful MGT.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Now, what about fathers? What advice would you give to future fathers?
Give your children everything that you didn't have. Discipline them according to the circumstance that causes discipline to be for. Be an example. Be a hero to your daughters. Be a soldier to your sons. Let them see the God in you. Be there for them every opportunity that you can. Try not to let life take you from them, depending on the situations. Be in their life, love them. And once again, just give them everything that you didn't get as a child. And make life easy because they didn't ask to be here. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Now, Brother Osborne, are you going to go into the ministry?
If student minister Brother Arthur hears that, it's not my time yet, brother. But you know, this music is my ministry.
The music, and that's a powerful ministry.
It's a powerful ministry. I believe the minister said that one rap song is more powerful than 1,000 of his lectures.
That's
correct?
right. That's right. That's correct.
Yeah. So this is my ministry for right now. And if Master Father Muhammad see fit for me to deliver the word, beloved, I'm all for it. I'm
yes,
all
sir.
for it.
All right. And what would you like your legacy to be, sir?
My legacy, for the people to know, beloved, I strive my hardest to make my word bond. I strive my hardest to make my word bond, to be known as a good, reliable brother, a great father, a great husband, striving to be known as a good believer, a servant to Allah and His Christ. My legacy, beloved, is love. That's it, beloved. It's love. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. One more question that we have for you, sir.
Absolutely.
The artists that came up, is there particular, I know you named your favorite 5 artists, but where you got your style that got you really wanting to be a rapper, who are they?
Man, listen, L and Ra, right? Because you know Ra was a god, and I think the first time I saw LL, the wordplay had me in the dictionary. His flair, his flyness, just everything about L was it for me. I tell people all the time I wanted to go to Farmers Boulevard and find L, and the funny thing about it is I had the opportunity to meet L on 3 occasions. It was 3 occasions because it was a brother in my town that was bringing LL up there, and I used to wear this bucket fila hat because I couldn't afford a Kango, so I had the bucket fila hat, and I'll never forget standing on the corner, and L came through. They was in a BMW, and they was like, "Yo, that's L." And I looked, I said, "Yo." He turned the corner. I ran him down to the next light. I was hitting the window. I'm like, "Yo, L, I love you, man. I love you, L." So he rolled the window down. And he stuck out, man. You know, he gave me the fist, and I'm like, "Yo, I just met L." And I told L about that maybe some time later. And the funny thing is, I took my daughter to LA a couple of years ago, made a phone call, and we went through and surprised my daughter. And it was LL. We went to one of the studio sessions and came out, took pictures with the family and everything. So that's the GOAT right there.
Listen, hands down. Everybody know Josh. Any girl who knew me before like 10th grade, I was writing LL Cool J lines and stuff to get to them. And this is because my older brother was in the LL Cool J. Like LL Cool J, it wasn't even my it didn't matter. I was like, what'd he say? Like, yeah, okay. I'm using all these lines. I'm for sure using these lines. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, man. Love L, man. So that was it, you know. And like I said, with Rakim, with the transition from me getting knowledge yourself to joining 5% Nation, Rakim was the first brother like hearing all praises due to Allah, and that's a blessing. Knowledge yourself is nothing I can't solve. At 360 degrees, I've evolved. I'm like, oh man, you know, I remember, you know, putting 120 on Brain back then, listening to Paid in Full album. You know, so yeah, those two right there, very, very, very much so in my rap career. Yes.
Yes, sir. All right, one last question for you, sir. Rakim has been, I've seen him, I've met him at Savior's Day, at the Swan Song. He's always showing love to the minister and stuff. Do you think that maybe that can help, you know, bridge the gap as well? Just showing people like, man, look, Rakim, he at Mas Mariam. You know what I'm saying? You think that can help,
Right.
you know, a little bit?
It can, brother, but like I said, it's a growth and it's a maturity thing, you know, with some of the brothers. Rakim has been around the world. Rakim has seen things that these brothers haven't seen. He's seen the power of the minister. He doesn't have a problem acknowledging that the minister is God's man in our midst.
That's right.
So, I mean, it would be nice to say that, you know, inshallah, it will happen. But Rakim is definitely a beacon of light for the 5% Nation, Gods and Earths, because he stood the test of time. And for him to bear witness and come see the minister speaks in volumes. Speaks in volumes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
this is only part one of the interview because we look forward to him coming back. I-Born with the project dropping, and he said he's gonna bless us, you know, with the 16. So, you know, we look forward to it. And everybody
Might give you 24.
Might give us 24. Come on now. So
yes, sir.
Everybody get on YouTube, look up I-Born. He got nothing but hits. I was thoroughly impressed in one sense because of your talent, but disappointed in another sense that we in the same ranks and nobody ever introduced us, nobody connected us until now, but Allah's the best of planners, so we locked in now.
Yes, sir. Best of planners, beloved. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So this is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off with the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, sir. Boom. Thank you all for watching.